Amid media reports that Bangladesh plans to develop its defunct airbase in the border areas with India, like Lalmonirhat. Now, India is also trying to develop its shutdown airstrips in eastern India, particularly in frontier areas of eastern India, so as to improve the air connectivity to far flung areas. But these airstrips or civil aerodromes, which have been shut during the course of several years, might also, after revival, if required, can be used for military purposes. Now, one such airport is the Kailashahar airport in northern part of Tripura, bordering Bangladesh in one side and Assam in another side. Now, this airport is very strategically located. The airport is barely 2 kilometers away from the international borders with Bangladesh. Apart from that, it is very close to the borders with Assam, and northern Tripura and southern Assam is a very important gateway as far as linkage of the rest of Tripura to the rest of the country or the rest of northeast is concerned. And therefore, this area does not have a civil aviation airport. In one side, you have the Agartala airport, which takes about half a day to reach from Kailashahar, and on the other side you have the Kumbhirgram airport in Silchar, which takes even longer time. So therefore, a airport was required for civil aviation purpose in this area, and therefore center is now trying to revive and fast track this revival process of the defunct or shut down Kailashahar airport, which for a long time was used for civil aviation, but for the past 3 decades or more, it is in a completely shut down state. In fact, airport authorities of India, they have done their preliminary survey. There is a requirement perhaps to acquire more land to increase the length of the runway and widening it. So all this will take time, but once ready, this airport is not only going to give better connectivity to unconnected areas in terms of civil aviation, like we saw in the northeast during the Modi regime. Many of the airports, like the Teju airport in Arunachal Pradesh or the advanced landing grounds in Pasighat and Zero, as well as the Lakhimpur Lilabari airport, being operationalized for civil aviation under UDAN scheme. So there are efforts for better linkages within the northeast, but on the eastern frontiers, these airports are being revamped as well. Now, specifically talking about the Kailashahar airport, in the 1971 war against Pakistan that led to the liberation of Bangladesh, this airport also played a very crucial role. What we have gathered from sources is that this airport was the launch pad of a very important covert airstrike on eastern Pakistan during the 1971 war. The operation was codenamed Operation Kilo Flight. This operation was conducted by aircrafts which were provided by the Indian establishment to a group of Bengali pilots who had come out of either the Pakistan Air Force or Pakistani Civil Liner Airlines, and they had formed this crack group, and they formed the air unit of the Mukti Bahini, the guerrilla force which was fighting along the Indian army in the liberation war of Bangladesh. The Kilo Flight team was based out of Jorhat in Assam and had trained in Dimapur in Nagaland. But when it came to the actual operation, the operation was launched from the Kailashahar airport, from where they flew, rather not traced by the Pakistani radars, and they carried out precision strikes on installation in Chittagong, near the Chittagong port, and thereby destroying oil depot and some other reserves, and thereby hitting the Pakistani army and the Pakistan Air Force as well, because the oil depots were blown out, and therefore, despite having their aircraft, their fighter aircrafts placed in the airfields in the eastern front, in eastern Pakistan, through this operation, the Indian Air Force actually developed a complete air dominance during the 1971 war. And it all started from this airstrip in Kailashahar through Operation Kilo Flight. Later on, the Bengali pilots who were involved in Operation Kilo Flight went on to form what is now known as the Bangladesh Air Force. So therefore, there is a historical significance of this airport at Kailashahar, which Government of India now plans to revamp and to turn it out into another civil aviation airport from where civil aircrafts would take off. This will be also a big connectivity milestone. But apart from that, there are several civil aviation airports in the northeast. But in the past couple of years, Indian Air Force have done drills in those airports, in those runways, in those landing strips, of landing its advanced aircrafts like the Sukhois, so as to check the capabilities of these civil aviation aerodromes if they are to be used for any military or air force purpose. So therefore, when this airport in Kailashahar also gets ready, if need it be, given the fact of its strategic location and its history of its usage in the 1971 war, if required, it can be in future, when it comes into operation, be once again used for military purpose if so required, apart from the fact that it is going to give a big boost to civil aviation in that area which otherwise doesn't have an airport nearby. So it's a win-win situation for India, and that's exactly why India has focused on this airport in terms of trying to fast track its development. The Tripura government has been asking Centre to look into it for some time, and now Centre has decided to fast track it.